guys, welcome to Odd Man Out. All the news you didn't know you needed to know. Normally, I cut clips from my live streams and chop them up for the channel over here on YouTube, and then over here on Rumble, I just do my live streams, and of course, Locals gets all of it. I just jumped online to kind of see how things were going in UK and some of the other breaking stories that I've been keeping an eye out on. And the UK has disabled the internet access to their police webpage, police.uk, so that all the outside people that have free speech and have free thought and have the ability to be critical of what's going on over there has been disabled. Now, of course, with a VPN, you can still get in and see what's going on, and I'll share some of that with you. This is from police, www.police.uk. I'll refresh it as much as you want. You've been blocked because I'm not in the UK. They've shut off access for other countries to see what's going on in the UK. Do you realize how dystopian this is? This is, we joke a lot about we're getting into 1984 times. And this doesn't frighten me. It makes me furious. It makes me angry that a government and a police agency would have the arrogance to arrest people for their thoughts and their speech and their social media posts. And then when the rest of the world wants to see this unbelievable, egregious act, they turn it off. Again, it's easy to talk about 1984. Policing thought from 1984. In the year 1984, the government of Oceania, dominated by the Inner Party, uses the newspeak language, a heavily simplified version of English, to control the speech, actions, and thoughts of the population by defining unapproved thoughts as ThoughtCrime. For such actions, the think pole arrests Winston Smith, the protagonist of the story, and Julia, his lover, as enemies of the state. They are controlling the speech and the actions and the thoughts of the population, wanting to share their thoughts on what's going on. This, I'm gobsmacked is the only word I can use in this, because here's the type of news stories that they don't want us to see. Woman arrested in connection with inaccurate social media post. Inaccurate social media post. They've arrested her. The 55-year-old woman near Chester was arrested earlier today, Thursday, 8 August, on suspicion of publishing written material to stir up hate. She's currently being held in police custody, where she's assisting officers with their inquiries. Chief Superintendent Allison Ross said, "We have all seen the disorder that has taken place across the UK over the past week, much of which has been fueled by malicious and inaccurate communications online. It's a stark reminder of the dangers of posting information on social media platforms without checking the accuracy. It also acts as a warning that we're all accountable for our actions, whether that be online or in person." A 55-year-old woman is in jail. Now, earlier today when I was doing my stream, I shared a story about one gentleman that was making gestures to police and yelling at them. He got 26 months in jail. Another man, same thing, 26 months in jail. 2 years, 2 months for yelling at police officers. And now this. And to hide their debauchery, they turn it off to the rest of the world. Now, there's other video, of course, going around still being shared. This is from a couple hours ago. Let me full screen this so you can hear their thoughts on the issue.
Involves publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive, which is intended to or likely to start hatred.
Likely. Someone might take offense, off to jail.
So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offence. And we do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification, arrests and so forth. So it's a really, really serious. People might think they're not doing anything harmful. They are, and the consequences will be visited upon them. The offence when
I knew that people were getting arrested for social media posts, but to hide from the rest of the world your actions because they're so egregious that other countries are calling you out for it. I had other videos, and you notice as I'm flipping through my pages here, many of them are not available. This is my current news feed. But you notice many of these others are no longer here because they're being taken down by the elite police force. Yeah, you can see other people are experiencing neo-unrealist. UK police have blocked their website. You know, the other day when I was doing, even today's stream, we always have this bias that, well, it's never been like this before, so it's not going to be like this going forward. They would not have the testicular fortitude to do something like this. They're not. Yes, they get a little overbearing, but they'd never go so far as to do ThoughtCrime and the thought police. But here we are. That's why I actually used the thumbnail today of V from Vendetta, because then you couldn't say anything about anything. But they did this. They did a test run on us during the jab. It's ironic because I'm recording this for all my channels, one of which is YouTube. And I may not need to, but at one point we needed to use the words bug and jab because the other words would get your video taken down. And you'll have to forgive me because I still have a cold, so I have to cough occasionally. You'd have your videos taken down. There were people that were told they would be taken off social media. Our own government here tried to say the misinformation, disinformation thing and have people removed. There's the Twitter papers. There were doctors that lost their ability to practice medicine because they didn't follow what the government's mandated. And that was here in the U.S. Just because things have been good, just because this has never happened before, doesn't mean it won't happen for the first time. And what's going on in the UK is, it is Venezuelan. It is like China. It is like insert socialist communist country here. These are people that are sitting in their homes, sharing a tweet, sharing information that may not meet the government's correct, preferred, or acceptable thought. And someone is dedicated to scour social media, knock on their door, and arrest them for it. It's literally thought crime. And I'm not going to share them here because that's not what this video is about. But as I'm sitting here looking at Twitter, there are other videos being shared of men with masks on. And we'll just say they have melanin in their skin tones. And there's police staring at them as they stand there with fence posts, cooking objects that could be quite hazardous, fire extinguishers, swinging them and waving them around and saying very egregious things to the police. And the police do nothing. But Grandma, Mima, sitting in her home that retweets the wrong thing, she's headed to jail. Do you know why that is? Because they don't fear Mima. They fear the rambunctious youth that are willing to get into confrontations with the cops. But they don't fear Mima sitting in her chair. They don't fear the guys that are going around, the protesters. They don't fear them because they're not smart enough to wear masks. Instead, they wear the Union Jack like a cape on their back as they run around doing their deeds, and then they're caught because their face is on a zillion cameras. One side of this knows how to play the game very well. The other one doesn't. And I said this a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, when I put my original video up. You either fight to win, and you have to go all the way up to the top to win, or you don't fight at all. UK has gotten themselves in a deep pot of water, a deep kettle of tea. And they're either going to have to quit, stop now, in which case they're going to be scouring through social media for weeks and weeks and weeks and using internet archives to find everybody that posted something that was improper, and they will go knock on their door, or you got to topple the government. I think we know which one's going to happen, unfortunately. You have to go big or go home, because the UK government is going very, very, very big, to the point where they do not want the rest of the world discussing, seeing, analyzing, and calling them out for what they're doing. ThoughtCrime is here, everybody. Buckle up.